In our previous lecture, we have derived the Chebyshev method. The implementation of the method requires evaluation of three quantities. One is the function f(x), the other is its derivative f prime x, and its second derivative f double dash x. Further, we also mentioned that the method is of third order, which would mean that if you are away from the exact root by say 0.1, then each iteration can produce an accuracy of 10 to the power of minus 3, so that the method is sufficiently fast for any requirement. However, in many practical problems, it may not be possible for us to find out the second derivative or even the first derivative. Therefore, in such circumstances, we need an alternative method wherein the evaluation of the derivatives may not be possible. So, in that direction we have what is known as the Muller's method, and the Muller method also uses the concept of approximating the exact root by a, in the neighborhood of the root the curve is approximated by a quadratic equation. Now, there are number of ways of writing a quadratic polynomial. One way that we have used it for deriving Chebyshev method was to write the polynomial as a0 x square plus a1 x plus a2 is equal to 0. However, an alternative way of writing a quadratic polynomial is a0 x minus xk whole square plus a1 x minus xk plus a2 is equal to 0, where we take a0 not equal to 0 because it is a quadratic polynomial. Now, if I open it up and simplify, what I would simply get is some a0 x square plus some b1 into x plus b2 is equal to 0. Therefore, this is a suitable form for me in order that the method can be derived much more easily. Now, the application of the Muller's method requires three initial approximations. If you remember that the Newton-Raphson method required one initial approximation, secant method required two initial approximations, the Chebyshev method required one initial approximation. But for implementing this Muller method, we need three evaluations, three approximations to the exact root. These three roots are any three approximations near the root. The exact root need not lie between any one of these intervals. For example, if the root is say 5, we could choose on one side of it say 3.54 or 4.7, or randomly arbitrarily one can choose, once we know that the root lies between a certain interval, any 3 points within this interval can be taken as the initial approximation to the root. Therefore, I would take the three approximations to the root as xk, xk minus 1, xk minus 2. That means, in order to start my the method, the implementation method, I need x0, x1, x2 to start, and then find x3, x4, x5 from the method. Now, since these are the three approximations, obviously there are 3 points on the curve, that is xk f at xk, xk minus 1 f xk minus 1, xk minus 2 f xk minus 2. Through 3 points we can always plot a quadratic curve, that is a parabola. Now, this parabola will intersect the axis, and that point it cuts the axis at 2 points. Again, one root will be the exact, other root will not be approximating the exact root. So, what I would do, I would just substitute xk, xk minus 1, xk minus 2 in this what I had written in the previous step. So, you see the reason why we had written will be obvious now. When I substitute x is equal to xk in this, this term drops, this term drops, so a2 gets evaluated automatically. So, a2 will be simply equal to fx evaluation of this. Now, I substitute xk, x is equal to xk minus 1, I would get a0 xk minus 1 minus xk whole squared, then a1 into xk minus 1 minus xk plus a2. Similarly, I will substitute the approximation xk minus 2 here, so that I have fk minus 2, this is xk minus 2, and this is xk minus 2 minus xk plus 2 is equal to 0. These are three equations in three unknowns, a2, a0 and a1. Now, since a2 is determined, I can take a2 to the right hand, to the left hand side here, then I will have a system of two equations for determining a0 and a1. So, what I would do is I would solve these equations. Now, a2 is determined from this. So, A2 is equal to fxk, I have taken this A2 to the left hand side, then I am finding first of all D as the determinant of the coefficient matrix. So if I evaluate the determinant of the coefficient matrix, that is D, that is xk minus 1. If I take the determinant of the coefficient, what I would have here is xk minus 1 into xk whole squared into xk minus 1 minus xk minus the product of these two terms, that is xk minus 2 minus xk whole squared into xk minus 1 minus k. So this is the determinant of the coefficient matrix for A0 determining A0 A1. Therefore I can find out A1 as 1 upon D into by using the Cramer's rule, I have evaluated the numerator, and similarly I evaluate for the A0, this is the numerator that comes from there, that is simply using the Cramer's rule for 2 by 2 system of equations. Therefore I am able to determine the constants A10 and A1 A2 very easily by assuming the polynomial form in the special form that we have taken there. If I had taken it as A0 xk A0 x square plus A1x plus A2, I will have to solve a system of 3 by 3 equations, and the system of 3 by 3 equations would give me the same solution, but in a different format, wherein I will have to combine the number of terms to get this particular format. But this format you will see later on, we shall be using such an approximation for a polynomial, in general a polynomial degree n, to find out some methods, some other numerical methods also. Therefore when I once I determine A0 A1 A2 from here, I would go back and substitute in this polynomial. Before doing that, let us first of all simplify this D that we had written over here, because this can be simplified further. So let me just put the slide over here. So if I now simplify this, you can see that xk minus 1 xk is a common factor, xk minus 2 minus xk is a common factor. So I can take out both these common factors, xk minus 1 minus xk, xk minus 2 minus xk, and what is left out is the xk minus 1 minus xk and minus xk minus 2 plus xk. So xk cancels, I have a factor of this particular form. Now you can see that the denominator of this can easily be written down once we know the 3 approximations. You start with any approximation, either xk, that means from xk or the other end. So xk, we have the 3 points, xk minus 2, xk minus 1 and xk. So the starting one is xk minus 2 and the last one is xk, any one of them we can start. So what I do is I subtract xk from the remaining 2 previous approximations, xk minus xk minus 1, xk minus xk minus 2. Then I move to the next point in the order, xk minus 1 minus xk minus 2. So this will be the denominator. So you can look at it reverse way, you can start from the other end, you start from xk minus 2, let us take a minus sign throughout. So xk minus 2 minus xk minus 1, then xk minus 2 minus xk, that is over. So I have to move to the next point, that is xk minus 1 minus xk with a negative sign. So if I move from that sign, I will have a minus sign here. So either I can do from either side, but it is always good that we start with the current approximation that is available, previous one, that is xk, so that we do not take care of any sign. So it will be simply the product in the denominator. Now since now we have solved for A0 A1 A2, we can now go back and substitute in this. So I substituted for A0 A1 and A2 here, and once I substitute it over here, I can write down the next approximation. So the next approximation is the f of xk plus 1. Here I am substituting, now I am putting this is equal to 0. So I am putting xk plus 1 here, xk plus 1 here, this is a quadratic equation for xk plus 1 minus xk. So I solve by the ordinary method, that is xk minus 1 xk plus 1 minus xk is equal to minus 1 plus minus under root a1 square 4 times A0 A2 divided by 2 times A1. So I have just solved this equation for xk plus 1 minus xk, that is I have taken xk to the right hand side. So it is a trivial finding the root of this quadratic equation, and both the roots we are taking over here, and this form of this can be simplified by rationalizing this. So I multiply the numerator and denominator by minus the a1 plus minus under root of a1 square minus 4 a0 a0, and when I multiply it out, you can see a1 square cancels with a1 square, and I have a plus minus 4 a0 a2. Out of this 4 a0, there is 2 a0 in the denominator, it cancels. So what is left out is simply 2 times a2, and in the denominator I have a1 plus minus under root of a1 square minus 4 a0 a2. So the minus sign has been taken care of by writing this. Now there is a reason for writing this rationalization in this particular form. We have started with initial approximations xk minus 2, xk minus 1, xk. The next, since the solution is a continuous solution, the next root that we are going to get, or next approximation we are going to get, should be closer to xk. It cannot jump far away from the xk. Therefore what we do here is, in order to choose the correct the correct value to be added to xk, I would see that the change that comes here is small, because there are 2 values here. I will choose that particular value which gives me the smaller of the 2 in magnitude. So what I would do is, the sign in the denominator in equation 7 is chosen such that a1 as that of a1, so that the denominator has a maximum absolute value, that is xk changes by smaller value. Let me explain it again. We are taking the square root, therefore this is a positive square root. Now this quantity will be small if the denominator is large in magnitude. Therefore depending on the sign of a1, if a1 is positive, I will take positive sign here, then the denominator is largest value. If a1 is negative, I will choose the negative value here, so that in magnitude it is large, and in this quantity will be smaller in magnitude. Therefore that is what we had discussed here, that the sign in the denominator in this equation is chosen as that of a1, so that the denominator has the maximum absolute value, that is xk changes by the smallest possible value. This will automatically determine throwing away of the other root, because the fact that we had rationalized it and brought in this particular form, we are automatically throwing away the second root by saying the other root is going to give a bigger change to xk. Therefore that is how we have solved the problem. Now let us use this method. Now before we take the example, let us discuss what we have to do for the next iteration. What is the computational cost per iteration? We have the approximations xk minus 1, xk minus 2, xk minus 1 and xk. We have computed xk plus 1. Now we go to the next step. I need evaluation of fxk plus 1. I do not need anything else here, because the a0, a1, a2 do not contain any other thing. Therefore the cost of evaluation is simply one function evaluation, that is f of xk plus 1. So the cost of evaluation is only one function evaluation. However, we shall show later on that the method is not quadratic or cubic, it drops down a super linear, that is about 1.8, that is superior than the secant method, but it will be only 1.8 as the rate of convergence. We are going to discuss it again. In a sense, we want to state here that what we have derived is not superior to Chebyshev method or superior to the Newton-Raphson method. Now now let us take this example, perform 2 iterations of the Muller method to find the smallest positive root of x cubed minus 5x plus 1 is 0, and here in the problem the initial approximations are given to us as 0, 0.5 and 1. We know earlier we have shown that the root lies between 0 and 1. So we have just taken 3 points randomly, 0, 0, 0.5, 1. If it so happens, depending on the root, if you are able to take a different approximation, you may reduce 1 or 2 iterations, and if it is not, it will take 1 more or 2 more iterations to adjust and converge from one side. Now let us solve this problem. Now here we have fx is equal to x cubed minus 5x plus 1. Now I evaluate f at, I have taken the 3 approximations are given. So f at 0, that is f0, f at 0.5, that is f1, f at 1 is f2. So these 3 values are 1, minus 3.5 and minus 3. Now we have we will substitute it and get the first iteration. Now if you remember that a2 is computed as f2, that is minus 3, then we said the denominator is starting with x2, x2 minus x1, x2 minus x0, x1 minus x0. So I am starting from x2 and then taking all the subtractions from all the remaining approximations, and this of course I can compute easily, it comes at 0.25. Then when once the denominator is obtained, then the numerator also forms really a particular way of writing it. It will take little longer for me to explain, but you can see the way in which the sequence goes in the numerator also. This is f2 minus f1, x2 minus x naught whole square, f2 minus f naught x2 minus x1 whole square. So this f2 is x2, f2 x2, f1 opposite value, f0 opposite value. So this is how a particular sequence can also be remembered in writing even a1 and a2. So I can substitute this f2 and f1 here, x2 and x naught here, f2 f naught here, x2 x1, simplify this, I get minus 2.5. Similarly this a naught is f2 minus f naught, x2 minus x naught, and here there is no squares except that both these quantities are same except there are no squares here, and this quantity is 1.5. So I have now computed a naught, a1 and a2. When once I compute a naught, a1 and a2, I would then try to evaluate the quantity. Now yes, now a1 is less than 0, so you can see that we can just have a look at this. A1 is minus 2.5, therefore a1 is negative, therefore in the denominator I will take the negative sign here out of this plus minus. So since a1 is negative, I take x3 as x2 minus 2 times a2, this is a1 with a negative sign minus under root a1 square minus 4 a naught a1 a2, and this is a simple computation. I can substitute the values of a naught, a1 and a2 and get this, evaluate it as 191857. Now this gives us the first step of our Muller iteration, that is the first iteration of the Muller method. Now I repeat the same thing and I go find out what is my a2. a2 is now f of x3, the current estimate is s3, so f of 3, so I compute the value of f3. Then d, now look at this x3, I could have written this first, x3 minus x2, x3 minus x1 into x2 minus x1. So now we need 3 approximations, we have now come to x3, so we drop the original one x0, so we have x1, x2, x3. So therefore I take x3 minus x2, x3 minus x1, that is x3 minus x2, x3 minus x1. Now I go x2 minus x1. So that will be the denominator, and this product is simply equal to this. Now again I compute my a1. a1 is 1 upon d, the value of d, f3 minus f2. Now you see here x3 minus x1 whole square, f3 minus x1, x3 minus x2 whole square, and a naught is f3 minus x2, x3 minus x1, f3 minus x1, x3 minus x2, and I have this. Now these are the two computed values for a1 and a naught, which we had written it from the original expressions that we had here earlier, the expressions for a naught, a1 and a naught here. In here we have substituted the current estimates. Again I find a1 is negative, therefore I will have to take in the denominator the negative sign, so that the change in xk, the current value x3 is smaller. So I would therefore write x4 as x3 minus twice a2, a1 minus under root of a1 square minus 4 a naught a2. Now I have just written the values of x3, a2 here, a1 with a negative sign, that sign has been taken care of here as a plus sign, and this has become plus under root of this, and evaluation of this would reduces this value. This completes the evaluation of 2 iterations. We have done x3 and this is the value that we have got x4. Now as I mentioned earlier, the reason why we have derived Muller's method is that in practical applications it may not be possible for us to find out the second derivative as well as first derivative. Therefore we opted for a method which may not be as fast as the Chebyshev method, but reasonably fast, which we are saying its order of accuracy is 1.8 or rate of convergence is 1.8. Now it may be possible that we must give an alternative, that it may be possible for us to find the first derivative but not the second derivative. For that we have already Newton-Raphson which uses first derivative, but if it is possible for me to get first derivative at some other point also, it may be possible for me to get the same order as the Chebyshev method, that is the third order method. That means it will work much superior than this. Therefore what we would like to do is now is we start with the Chebyshev step but the way we have manipulated Chebyshev method, the Chebyshev method was obtained starting with the Taylor series expansion up to the second order. We dropped the third order terms, and then from there we manipulated to get the Chebyshev method. However, we show that we would like to show now that if I manipulate it in a different way, I can avoid the evaluation of second derivative. I will evaluate one more first derivative. That means I will have two first derivative evaluations and one function evaluation, at the same time achieve the third order accuracy. That is the order of the Chebyshev method. Such methods are called, they are simple manipulations as I am saying, but they are called multi-point iteration methods. Why it is called multi-point is trivial. We are evaluating f prime at 2 points. So, it is a multi-point, more than one point it is being evaluated. So, in the Chebyshev method we have used the second derivative. Now, to avoid the evaluation of f double prime and obtain the same order method, we shall use the following method. So, we will start from where we have started our Chebyshev method. In the Chebyshev method we have written the Taylor expansion, we have taken the first three terms, the order of h cubed term or order of x minus xk whole cube term is dropped. So, from this we have manipulated the Chebyshev method. The starting point for the, we are going to give two multi-point iteration methods, and both of them start from the same step. Now, what we do from this step is we write this step as this. What I do is I take fk to the right hand side, retain these two terms on the left hand side, take x minus xk common factor. So, what is left out is x minus xk f prime of k plus half x minus xk f double dash k is minus fk. So, it is simply taking this right hand side and taking the common factor. Then I would write from here the next approximation. I will take this factor to the denominator here and write down my next approximation. Therefore, I will write xk plus 1 minus xk minus fk divided by this entire factor f prime k plus half of xk plus 1 minus xk f double dash k. Now, what I will do is the manipulation which we talked of will be done here. I will write this as the first two terms of the Taylor expansion of this. If I write this as f prime, let us look at this quantity here, f prime of xk half xk plus 1 minus xk. Now, write down the Taylor expansion of this. The Taylor expansion of this is f prime at xk plus this factor into next derivative, that is second derivative. So, this is half xk plus 1 xk. Let us, you can think this as h. If you think this as h, this is simply h into f double dash of xk. So, that means these two terms get absorbed in the first two terms of the Taylor expansion of f prime of xk. Therefore, I have now avoided writing taking the evaluation of f dash, but I have now brought it in this form, so that f dash is being evaluated at one more value besides f dash at k. Therefore, the justification of calling a multi-point iteration, that f prime is now being evaluated at a new value, one more value besides the value at xk. Now, now it is the, as we have done in the Chebyshev method, we had xk plus 1 on the right hand side, xk plus 1 minus xk. There we have approximated by the Newton-Raphson method, the order retained, the method retained the order of 3. Same thing we shall do, xk plus 1 minus xk we shall approximate it by the Newton-Raphson method, that is minus f of k divided by f prime of k. So, we will now approximate this quantity xk plus 1 minus xk by fk minus f prime k. So, that so we simply are writing approximating this by Newton-Raphson method. So, this is being replaced by as fk minus f dash k. Now, this method it is of the same order as the Chebyshev method. The order does not fall down, the order is 3. We shall show it is again 3. Now, this is a multi-point iteration method, but this can be written in a nice fashion, very nice fashion, as what we call as two-step method. That means we shall write this method in 2 steps. One is the evaluation of this particular argument of f dash k, and then evaluation of this. So, we would therefore write this method as follows. So, as you can see, I am now denoting this quantity that we have here as xk plus 1 star. as some intermediate value xk minus half fk f dash k, and then this method will be written as xk plus 1 is xk minus fk evaluation of f prime at this. So that this f prime is being evaluated as f prime at x star k plus 1, this one. So it is, you see, this is almost looks like Newton-Raphson method, except I have a half here. If there was no half here, it was Newton-Raphson method. So this particular quantity is being used here, and we compute xk plus 1 star, then compute f prime at this particular argument, and then substitute it here, we get the multi-point iteration method. Therefore this is called the multi-point iteration method as one way of writing it. Now the starting point for manipulation of this was this step. So we have manipulated this and brought this one step. If I manipulate it in a slightly different way, I can get a different multi-point iteration method. Now let us see how we manipulate this particular thing here. What I now do, I retain the middle factor here and take these two to the right hand side. So xk plus 1 minus xk f prime k, I retain it on the left hand side. I take fk half fk minus 1 whole square to the right hand side. Then the manipulation that I want to do is on the right hand side. So I would now try to manipulate this particular thing to avoid my second derivative. What I would write here is, let us forget for this moment, let us take this f of xk plus x minus xk. Now it is simply, you know, xk cancels, it is simply manipulation, you know, this. So if I open it up, what does it give you? F at xk plus x minus xk f prime of xk, which I have subtracted. So x minus xk f dash k cancels with x minus xk f prime xk that's come, and the next term is half x minus xk whole squared f double dash k, and that is this term. So to get this, what we have done is we have added and subtracted x minus xk f dash k, and these three terms has become the first three terms of the Taylor expansion of f xk plus x minus xk, this. Now if you now look at this one, this is now being evaluated at a new point xk plus x minus xk. Now when once I am able to write this, I can immediately write down the next approximation, replacing x by xk plus 1. So this is xk plus 1 minus xk. I bring f prime k to the right hand side. So minus of 1 upon f prime k, f xk plus xk minus 1 minus xk, and this xk also, x also is replaced by xk plus 1. As we have done in the Chebyshev method as well as the previous multi-point iteration method, I would replace this xk plus 1 minus xk by the Newton-Raphson method again. So this will read, this part will read fk minus divided by f prime k, and this will read fk by f prime k. So let us simplify this one step further. Now if I simplify this, I am taking xk to the right hand side, then you look at this first term, the second term first. F prime k cancels with f prime k, there is fk here, f prime k here. So the second term is fk minus f prime k, and the third term is this term, that is minus of f xk minus fk by f prime k divided by f prime k. So this is another way of manipulating the starting approximation of the Chebyshev method to arrive at this particular new method. Now here again we have used the Newton-Raphson method. Now I would like to write this also as a two-step method. Now what I would do here is, I would first of all call this a new approximation. This is x star k plus 1 is xk minus fk by f dash k. Then I would write this xk plus 1 is, this is x star k plus 1 minus f star k plus 1, divided by f dash k. Very interesting thing here is the first step is nothing but Newton-Raphson method. So, this is indeed a modification of the Newton-Raphson method to arrive at the next higher order method. We know this will be a second order value, and now I am computing a third order value. Here you can see that we are using two evaluations of f. We are using f star k plus 1. Therefore, I am now using here the evaluation of f 2 times, whereas in the previous multi-point iteration we have two evaluations of f prime. So, even though both of them are having the same number of evaluations, 3 evaluations, but the choice is with us whether the evaluation of f is easy for me or evaluation of f prime is easy for me. If the evaluation of f is easy for me, I would choose this, because this is what I am using is f star at k plus 1. If evaluation of f prime is easy, I will use the other multi-point iteration method. Therefore, this is exactly the next higher order approximation to Newton or modification of Newton-Raphson method to get a new method. Now, we have all along been saying that the order of Newton-Raphson method is 2, order of secant method is 1.6, order of Chebyshev method is 3. How do you get about it? Getting the orders or rate of convergence of all these methods is very simple, very straightforward. Everything depends on Taylor series. We define the error at any particular step. That means the error, the current numerical solution minus exact solution is the error. Based on that, I will substitute the expressions of that in any formula, whatever the formula that I have got. I would bring any quantity that is there in the denominator. I will open up by Taylor series first, then whatever quantity is there in the denominator, I will take it up, put it to the power of minus 1, open it up as a binomial series, multiply everything, cancel off, and whatever is left out will be an expression connecting the error at the current step, that is k plus 1, with the error at k minus 1, k minus 2, depending on the method that we are using. So, to define this, let us define the error as xk is the current approximation, the approximation, minus xi as epsilon k. Therefore, similarly epsilon k plus 1 will define as xk plus 1 minus xi, epsilon at k minus 1 is equal to xk minus 1 minus xi, and so on, depending on what are the values xk's that are using. If you are using Newton-Raphson, we have only one value xk. If you are using secant method, we have to use xk minus 1. If you are using Muller method, we have to use xk minus 1, xk minus 2, all of them we have to use it. Then we would like to, now as I mentioned that how the order of the method is defined by connecting how the error at the present step is connected to the error at the previous step. That means present step is, if we are computing xk plus 1, how is the error at k plus 1th step is connected to error at the kth step, that is how epsilon k plus 1 is connected to epsilon k. Now, if we in the Muller method or the secant method we have more than one point xk plus 1, we shall see that using this particular definition we can define the epsilon k minus 1 epsilon k minus 1 automatically back in terms of xk. So, finally, we arrive at expression only connecting the errors at the two steps. Now, we define the order of an iterative method is, the iterative method is of order p if error at the current step in magnitude is bounded by some constant c epsilon k to the power of p. This p is called the order of the iterative method. It is also called the rate of convergence of the method. For example, we will be showing that for Newton-Raphson method that p turns out to be 2. That means we will call rate of convergence as 2 or order of convergence is 2. Therefore, epsilon k plus 1 less than or equal to c epsilon k whole squared. Similarly, for secant method we will show that this p is 1.612. Therefore, it is we call it as superlinear convergence. Now, this c that is multiplying is called the asymptotic error constant. Of course, we expect c is bounded quantity. If p, we will see that the value of c will be, when you write down the Taylor expansions, we will get the value of c also. Depending on the value of c, we can make few comments as to when the method is possibly may fail. If c also grows and it also goes to infinity, then even though you are multiplying by a very small quantity by a very large quantity, the method can still diverge or it may converge very slowly. Now let us see how we get this one. Now let us, the simplest of all is the Newton-Raphson method. So let us take the Newton-Raphson method. So the current error is epsilon k plus 1 is xk plus 1 minus xi. The previous error is epsilon k xk minus xi. Now our numerical method is, Newton-Raphson method is xk plus 1, as you, if you remember, the method that we had written is xk plus 1 is equal to xk minus f of xk by f prime of xk. So this is the Newton-Raphson method. Therefore I am substituting for xk plus 1 here, that is epsilon k plus 1 plus xi, xk is epsilon k plus xi minus f of xk is again epsilon k plus xi, f prime epsilon k plus xi. Now as I was saying, what we do here is we Taylor expand all these quantities that are there, that is functions that are there. The denominator shall be taken to the numerator and then expanded. So let us open this up. Now here you can see xi and xi cancels over here, and so that epsilon k plus 1 is equal to epsilon k minus, I open it up, if I open it, Taylor expand it, f of xi plus epsilon k f prime of xi plus half epsilon k square f double dash xi plus so on. The denominator will be f prime at xi plus epsilon k f double dash xi. We started with that xi is the exact root of our function f(x), therefore f of xi is 0. We shall see later on that what we are talking of here is only a simple root, not a multiple root. If it is a multiple root, then we know that f prime and f double prime, they can also be 0. So the other terms can also be 0. So let us assume for the moment we are not talking of a multiple root, we are talking of only a simple root. So that f of xi is 0, f prime xi is not equal to 0. So I can set f of xi is equal to 0 over here. Now I set f of xi is equal to 0 here, and then if I want to take this to the numerator and expand, the binomial form of 1 plus some capital X to the power of minus 1. So I will always take it as 1 plus x to the power of minus 1 or 1 minus x to the power of minus 1, that form. Therefore I would take this particular quantity, that is first term, always out. There is a constant f dash at xi, so I would take f dash of xi constant over here, and you can see this term here I have written it as, take f dash xi common, I will have here 1 plus epsilon k f double dash xi by f dash at xi to the power of minus 1. So this quantity that I have here, I have taken it to the numerator and written as f dash xi. The numerator f of xi is 0, so I have written the two remaining terms epsilon k f prime of xi plus 1 by 2 epsilon square f double dash xi. Therefore as I said, the concept is to take the quantity that we have in the denominator to the numerator, put it to the power of minus 1. Now let us assume this whole quantity that has some capital X, it is easier to write it. So it is something like 1 plus capital X to the power of minus 1. If I open it up, I will get 1 minus x plus x square and so on. So here I have not written more terms because we do not need it. So it will be simply 1 minus capital X, that is 1 minus epsilon k f double dash p f dash plus so on. Those terms are we do not require them, therefore I have not written them. So this is what we done here is that f dash xi we have taken it inside, absorbed into this bracket, so that f dash xi cancels with f dash xi, and the second term is half epsilon k square f double dash by f dash xi. So this particular quantity we have simplified it by taking f dash xi inside and this. Now I just have to multiply these two. Now if I multiply, you can see epsilon k is epsilon k square, there are two terms, one into this is epsilon square, epsilon k into epsilon k is epsilon k square. So therefore this will contribute, this will contribute, this will contribute plus half epsilon square, this will contribute minus epsilon k square. So if I simplify, I would get minus half epsilon square f double dash minus xi plus so on. Now since once you multiply whole thing, I can now simplify the whole right hand side. Epsilon k cancels and I have left out with half f double dash xi by f dash xi epsilon k square. Now the other terms I will write order of epsilon k cubed, or this I will call it as c epsilon k square plus order of epsilon k cubed. Therefore I am able to derive that the error at the current step xk plus 1 step is equal to c into epsilon k square plus order of epsilon k cubed. So if I now neglect these higher order terms, now we are justified in neglecting because we are saying epsilon k is a very small quantity. So order of epsilon k cubed is much smaller than order of epsilon k square. Therefore if you neglect the higher order terms, what I get here is epsilon k plus 1 is equal to c k epsilon k square, where this constant c is half f double dash by f dash xi. Therefore we have proved that p is equal to 2, and that is the rate of convergence or the order of the Newton-Raphson method is 2. Now I mean we discussed earlier, but let us repeat it. What we mean is the Newton-Raphson method is order 2 means if we are sufficiently close to the root, let us say 0.5, we are away from 0.5. What it says is if c is sufficiently small, that c is multiplying every epsilon, it is multiplying epsilon 0 square, it is multiplying epsilon 1 square, epsilon 1 square. So c is bounded quantity and it is a finite quantity. Now you are therefore if at any stage you have 0.5 away from the exact solution, in the next stage you will be away from 0.5 whole square, that is 0.25. Of course we are multiplying by c, each one we are multiplying by c, same factor. In the next step 0.25 whole square, so 0.0625. Now see how fast the convergence will come. So you will have the accuracy coming so fast. Therefore this is reasonably good method for any practical application. That is what we are going to state later on. So this is how initially it will take few iterations to close up. Suppose as I said the root was say 1.5, you started at 3, there is no meaning between the error here is 1.5, it is quite far away, it is not less than. So it will take few iterations to reduce the error sufficiently small, then you will be able to see the convergence is very fast, because you have already crossed the stage of that the epsilon k is sufficiently small, therefore the accuracy is achieved much faster. As I said earlier, if I look at the constant, if I look at this error constant, I may be able to say when the iteration may become little bit slower, or it may be the errors could be initially could be big. If you can see that f dash xi is close to 0, that means f dash xi is 0 means dy by dx slope is almost equal to 0, that means the graph is cutting the x axis almost horizontally. In that case f dash xi is going to be very small, therefore in that case the error constant will be small but still bounded, but that part is going to multiply each time this factor. Now if I do the same thing for the secant method, the secant method the secant method that we have written is xk plus 1. There are two forms of secant method we have written it, one for computational purposes, the other is for the I said for error analysis we shall use it, that is xk plus 1 is equal to xk minus xk minus 1 f of xk minus f of xk minus 1 fk. This is the method that we have written so that error analysis can be made. The procedure is identically same. We substitute the xk by epsilon k plus xi, then xk minus 1 epsilon k plus k minus 1 is as we have written it in the previous time, we will write it again here. Therefore xk minus 1 minus xi is equal to epsilon k minus 1, and we have xk minus xi is equal to epsilon k. So I now substitute this, and of course xk plus 1 minus xi is epsilon k plus 1. Therefore I substitute xk plus 1 is epsilon k plus 1 plus xi, xk is epsilon k plus xi, in the numerator xk minus 1. So I am subtracting these two, so xi cancels off, I will be left out with only epsilon k minus 1. This is f of xi plus epsilon k, and the second term is minus f of xi epsilon plus k plus 1, and this factor is f of xi plus epsilon k. Now the reason why I have chosen is xi here automatically cancels, one of them easily cancels here, this xi cancels over here, so that I can write this as epsilon k plus 1 epsilon k. The numerator I have retained it as it is. Now I open up all these three terms by Taylor series. F of xi plus epsilon k f dash xi half epsilon k square f double dash xi plus so on. Denominator is again, I have already used f of xi is 0, so we need not write f of xi again. So I have taken f of xi 0. The next term is epsilon k f dash xi half epsilon square f double dash xi. Similarly epsilon f of xi is 0, epsilon k minus 1 first derivative at xi half epsilon k minus 1 square f double dash at xi. I have to first simplify the denominator, write it whatever the leading factor I take it out and write it as some 1 plus capital X. So I would like to bring it in that particular form. So as you can see, the denominator f dash xi, so I can take epsilon k minus 1 as common here, f dash xi. Second term is half epsilon k square minus epsilon k minus 1 square. So these two are subtracted, this is k square f double dash xi. Now as I said, in order to take it up, I will take this particular factor out. If I take this factor out, epsilon k minus 1 is common, so it cancels off. If I take this factor out, epsilon k minus 1 cancels off. Now let us first look at the denominator. The denominator will be 1 plus half, this is epsilon k square minus epsilon k minus 1 square, we factorize it, epsilon k minus epsilon k minus 1 into epsilon k plus 1. Epsilon k minus epsilon k minus 1 cancels because we are dividing by this. So what is left out is epsilon k plus epsilon k minus 1. This is f double dash minus f dash xi, this to the power of minus 1. And the numerator, this was cancelled, epsilon k minus epsilon k minus 1 was cancelled, f prime xi we take it inside. So I will have here epsilon k half epsilon k square f double dash divided by f dash xi. Then I would again, as we have done in the previous case, we will expand it by binomial expansion. This is 1 minus capital X. I should have written plus this. This is 1 minus epsilon k minus 1 f double dash by this. Now multiply it out. If I multiply it out, I would get here epsilon k into epsilon k and I have got here epsilon k cancels off, and the remaining terms, this I will take the common factor of f double dash by f dash xi. If I take that, I will have minus sign outside, epsilon k square here, and I will have here epsilon k into this factor, epsilon k into this is epsilon k square, epsilon k into epsilon k minus 1. So this product of these two is this and this. Now if I simplify this, I would get here C epsilon k minus 1, where this constant is f double dash by twice f double dash. This constant is same as in the Newton-Raphson method, but it has got a different form. Now we will stop at this. We will see now how we are going to manipulate this from this to get the order of this particular method, because we need the, when we are defining the order, it is to link only epsilon k plus 1 and epsilon k, but here it has linked epsilon k plus 1 with epsilon k and k minus 1. So we will have to eliminate epsilon k minus 1 from here to get that particular step, and we have the solution. Thank you.